So I've been in the crypto space since 2016 and I have used, let me just show you, my fair share of ledgers, right? And I'll be perfectly honest with you here. I still use it, still use my ledger, but only for certain things. Over the last few months, I've been using this. This is called the Tangem. You can't really see much of the branding on it. Wallet. Blown away by it. So this video, we're going to go through what it is, how it works, and why it is so easy to use versus the likes of Ledger, and also why I'm scared of using the likes of Ledger and Trezor longer term, just due to the build of them. This has changed my entire opinion on wallets, and I'm very, very surprised by it. Coming from someone that used to load up wallets as applications and you had to load the whole blockchain over time, it used to be a nightmare back in the day. Things have really moved on, and we're going to go through it. Let's get into it. So on the screen, as you can see, this is the Tangem Wallet. This is the website. I'm not going to do a tutorial on how to use it because honestly, it blew my brains because there's a lot of processes in this that you don't need to do. You don't need to write down a key because it's all within a microchip within this. All you do, you put it over your phone, you connect the chip and you put in your access code and then that's it. You're away. It is super simple. It is literally as simple as it sounds. It is like a black card, and we will go into certain things. It's a Swiss-based company. There's a massive guarantee on it, warranty, and the security standard is very, very different to what a Ledger and a Trezor currently offers right now. Now, when we talk about this, this is literally how it works. You are literally tapping the card. This is what the wallet looks like. Honestly, it took less than 5 minutes, and I've probably even less than that. It was literally a couple of button clicks and it kind of scared me, right? But really, really good in obvious reasons. So why is this so different to Ledger? I want to explain to you the three basic stuff. It's all about the backup. It's all about what is in that card and the 3 cards that you can potentially get, or 2, depending on what you want, in terms of how this works. So it generates a random private key. Same as a Ledger. These Ledger bad boys, right? You cannot see the private key within it. That's the exact same functionality. You have an access code for that, very, very similar. The difference between a Ledger and a card is you might drop that down the toilet. You might well stand on it. You might well get a problem with the battery on the Ledger Nano X, for example, which may mean you need to get a replacement. That's a problem. These, yeah, you might well snap it, but the idea is not to take it around with you. The idea is to keep it somewhere safe, right? Obvious. The established secure connection with each other, so they're all encrypted to the same private keys. And the keys are stored on 3 cards with no other copies. I will go through an order in a minute. Now, when we talk about this, you've got biometric and you've got access code protection. In the settings on the app, what I've done, I have made it so whenever I open the Tangem Wallet app, I have to use my card. Why? Because that's the whole point of it, really. So I don't want to use it to look at balances. I just want to, like, if I need to use it, I need to have the physical card there for me to use it, just in case something happens with my phone, for example, right? For obvious reasons. It's just an extra added protection. This is the app. It's super simple. Also, on the app, you can trade, you can exchange, you can move your monies around from, say, Bitcoin to Tether if you want to, without having to go to an exchange. Use Changely. Really, really useful, right? In terms of the assets, what you can get, there's all kinds of assets. You can see here, if you just click on the button on the website, and there you go, you can see them all, right? I know my head's in front of it some way, but they do offer a lot. There's a lot here. There's a few that they don't offer, which is fine, but as always, there's always functionality coming for new apps anyways. So that's it in simple terms, right? I don't want to go too much in terms of that. We will go through the frequently asked questions and stuff, but if you are looking to buy and you want to buy, use promo code Learning Crypto, right? You save 10%. Look, price, and I don't want to go through the price comparison of like the Ledger or a Trezor, but they're a hell of a lot cheaper as well, which is huge. In terms of what the company, started from and all that kind of stuff, it's been around since 2017. And yeah, they've been around for a while. And this is the great thing. Look at their technology partners. Look at who their product partners are. You can see some pretty big boy companies here, which is good to see, right? Good to see. If you go onto their blog, they have a lot of information that is updated all the time. You can see, look at the latest date. It's the 29th of February today. It's a leap year. But you can see here, all the information is here, right? They also have a very, very big help section, which is one thing that I went through massively before I started using this, because I wanted to understand how on earth this worked. And it tells you in simple terms how it all works in terms of how the seed phrases work, how to get certain things, you know, how the cards work, everything, like literally everything. If you go into this help center here, there's freaking everything, literally everything that you need to know in terms of how it all works, all that kind of information. But the one thing that really gets me excited, I wouldn't say it's exciting, but you know what I mean? They've got audits, and this is like, they've had audits over the course of time, and they've just recently got a new one. This is from 5th of December 2023. This audit has basically just went right the way through it again. It's been a couple of years, and there's been 0 hacks. Over 1 million cards have been sold and used, whatever. And that is massive when you think about it. This whole element of the technology with how it works is very, very different to, obviously, as I say, a Ledger and a Trezor and etc., all that kind of good stuff, right? However, when we talk about Ledger, we talk about a lot of breaches, a lot of problems. This is why I started looking away from them. Even though I still use it, I still do recommend it. There's a lot of issues with Ledger that have really started to annoy people. This was a security breach that happened not too long ago with the Connect kit. If you remember this not too long ago, basically when you go onto any sort of app or exchange, there's like a little connect button where you can connect your Ledger. There was an issue. Basically, an old employee got their account hacked, and then they put out a new code. Oopsie, that was a problem. There's another problem with Ledger as well, was obviously this as well. Remember the whole Ledger recover? Oh, what the hell? This kind of vibe was not fun. And this went all over the place. It was crazy. This has probably got one of the worst PRs I've ever seen. As much as I was like, yeah, cool, I'm never going to use it, there's always this kind of, well, what if? What if there's a backdoor? You just don't know, do you? Right? And finally, we talk about the other brand as well, Trezor. If you go onto YouTube, there is a video of someone getting a lot of money out of their Trezor because they got it locked. They couldn't figure out what the passcode was. And they hired a security expert, essentially, and there's a whole video on it. It's actually quite an insightful video. But it kind of worries me that the fact that that's happened. And it was quite old. It was an old update, but they still did it, which is scary. However, the one thing that is, I think, massive here for the Tangem brand especially is it's all open source, all of it, which is huge. So if the company, say, for example, goes bust, and you can see this in this article, what happens if there's an apocalypse? Well, it kind of explains in certain terms of how it all works and why it will still work. And obviously it's all fully open source, and how you can get an automatic kind of GitHub kind of update. Now, I know people are going to be in the comments going, well, what about if the internet goes off? Well, yeah, that's somewhat of a problem, but I think that'll be the least of your worries. At least here, if something does happen and you have connection, it's all open source. So you're not having to worry about, oh, what's ever happening. There's always going to be something. But that's the art of crypto. A lot of cryptocurrency, and people forget this, it's all open source. Pretty much everything. Bitcoin is still open source. A lot of the applications and coins and assets and other wallets as well, all open source. Ledger isn't. Ledger's only partially open source, which is kind of somewhat, okay, why are you only... I'm not going to say anything, but you get the idea, right? So as much as we laugh and joke about this sort of thing, it just gives you peace of mind. And the way that the open source world works, it's very, very different. It's very, very nice, and I like it. So if there is ever any issues, and we've already had issues before in the past where the iOS kind of interface goes, oh, where did that just go? You know what I mean? When like apps and wallets get obliterated, which is really irritating. So that's it. In absolute simple terms, things are different. If we are going to compare it in simple terms, it is different completely. As you can see here, configuration time is small. There's no battery involved, which is good. You know, multiple wallets, backups. So in my pack here, I've got 2 extra wallets. Cool, right? Makes sense, so I can hide them. You've got a better hardware certification, which is huge. And the most important thing, in my opinion, is the fact that, you know, you can't really do much with it. You know, you just sits in a car, you know, you don't... There's a lot less chance of breaking this versus like other situations. Obviously, if you look at, say, this, as I said before, water damage, or you can stand on it or whatever, that very, very different, right? So there we go. That is it. Done. Simple, I know, The app is simple, it's cheap, it's affordable, it works. Courses are going to get updated with this to be used. So if you're in the Learning Crypto courses in the community, you'll see a lot more about Tangem. And yeah, enjoy.